Welcome back. Still on the rules of logarithm, we are now moving to the third rule of logarithm, which is called the product rule. Sometimes some people also call it the addition rule. Some people call it the product rule, whatever. Now, what is it all about? It tells us that when you have two logarithms, all right, adding to each other, let's say logarithm of m adding to logarithm of n, and they are both in the same base. Take note, they are both in the same base and they are added to each other. It is the same thing as those two numbers multiplying each other in that base. So if you have log of m in base b adding to log n in the same base b, its final answer is equal to log m times n in base b. So those two numbers will multiply each other in that base. Alright, so as always, examples make it easier. Now, let's say we are told to add these two numbers. They are both in base 3. Alright, log 9 and log 3 in base 27. According to this rule, the product rule, since they are adding up and they are in the same base, it will be equal to log base 3 of 9 times 27. Alright, log to the base 3 of 9 times 27. And what is 9 times 27? This will give you log to the base 3 of 243. Alright, now, is this your final answer? No. Why do we say so? Because this can also be represented as a power of 3. In other words, 243 is the same thing as 3 raised to the power 5. So I can write this as log to the base 3 of 3 raised to the power 5. And if you remember the power rule, when we have a power, we can move it over to the back. So this is the same thing as 5 log 3 raised to 3 to the base 3. Alright? And when we remember the identity rule, 3 in base 3, log of 3 in base 3 is equal to 1. So this is the same thing as 5 times 1, which is 5. If you take note of this question, we apply 3 rules to simplify. So logarithm is all about knowing the rules, because from one rule you progress to another, and from that you progress to another. It's just like indices as well. Alright, when you know the rules and you apply it, you would always end up with a simplified solution. Alright, now let's try another example. Maybe we are told to add these two numbers.